What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Six Pack Bass channel. So, week 3 of the Alliance is in the books, and I must say, we have some storylines developing. In the West, we have a changing of the guard, so to speak, and in the East, the cream is rising to the top and separating themselves from the rest of the field. But let's get into week 3's matchups. First up, we had the Arizona Hotshots taking on the Salt Lake Stallions. So this was a matchup of the 2-0 Hotshots and the 0-2 Stallions. So Stallions home opener, and they did not disappoint. They played with a lot of pride in this game. They ended up knocking Wolford out of the game. But let's start with Arizona's side of the ball. John Wolford went 14 of 22, 127 yards and a touchdown. Trevor Knight did see his first action of the season in this one. He finished 8 of 17 for 95 yards, but that was really the storyline in this one. Wolford got knocked out of the game. That defense for Salt Lake was flying around. Carter Schultz and those guys were hitting Wolford just about every single time that he dropped back. Jarrell Presley was the leading rusher for the Hotshots. He went 10 carries for 34 yards, no touchdowns. Their leading receiver was Rashad Ross, 6 receptions, 51 yards, and had the lone touchdown. Their leading tackler on the team was Eric Dargan, 6 total tackles. Guys, Salt Lake's defense was really the difference in this. That and I say controversy. There was uncertainty as to whether Woodrum would play or Allen would play. Woodrum ended up playing. He did not disappoint. Pretty much left off right where he did in game 1 against the Hotshots. He went 22 of 31, 178 yards and a touchdown. The backfield, they kind of split that between Braden Oliver and Joe Bonyan. Bonyan had 12 carries for 45 yards, a touchdown. Braden Oliver, pretty much the same, 15 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. They were running on them really good, but I believe that with Woodrum playing, that helped them balance out that offense, and it made all the difference in the world. Talked about the defense a little bit. Like I said, Carter Schultz, man, he was in the backfield hitting Wolford just about every play. Ended up knocking him out of the game. He finished 2 tackles, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. I think the defense totaled about a dozen quarterback hits to finish the game. But finally in this one, Salt Lake got their very first win, 23-15. So the second game of the week was Memphis Express versus Orlando Apollos. This game was played in Orlando. Like I said, I felt this game was going to be closer than most people projected, and it was. Final on this one, Apollos got the win 21-17. But let's jump into the stats a little bit. So, Memphis side of the ball. Hackenberg, once again, disappointed. He went 8 of 14, 88 yards, had 2 interceptions, was yanked from the game. Mettenberg came in, and I believe that they found their new starter. I mean, they would be crazy not to play Mettenberger over Hackenberg. Zach Mettenberger, 9 of 12, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Guys, he came in and was stretching the field more than Hackenberg had in the first 2.5 games, I guess. Their leading rusher was Sherman Beatty, 8 carries, 59 yards. Zach Stacy went 14 of 29. They possessed the ball quite a bit. I believe time of possession for them was 31-17 to Orlando's 28-43. Like I said, I felt that was the key to the game. They were going to have to run the ball, make it a possession game. The 2 picks by Hackenberg didn't help. That gave the ball right to Orlando. Orlando lit them up pretty good. But the telling stat for me, 3rd down efficiency for Orlando. Orlando went 3 for 11 on 3rd down. So Memphis defense, watch out, guys. Now that they found a quarterback, like I said, they may be turning the ship around. This is going to be one of those sleeper teams that everyone's going to write them off. They're going to come in playing them thinking, oh, it's a winless team, and they could come sucker punch a few teams. So keep an eye on Memphis. But back into the stats. Memphis' leading receiver, Dontez Bird, he had 2 catches, 51 yards. Their lone touchdown was caught by, they had 2 touchdowns. Devin Lucien caught 1, as well as Gerard Shepard. On the defensive side of the ball, Drew Jackson was the leading tackler. He had 4 tackles. I believe the defense finished with, let's see here, one sack, but they did have 8 or 9 quarterback hits. So defense played solid. Like I said, Hackenberg really didn't do him any favors with those 2 picks. Let's jump over to Orlando's side of the ball. So Garrett Gilbert, 14 of 28, 207 for 1 touchdown. Their leading rusher, Dearness Johnson, 13 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown. Garrett Gilbert also had a rushing touchdown in this one. Let's see, their leading receiver, Ronnell Hall, 4 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Their leading tackler, Andrew Ankra, 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 for a loss, 1 sack, and 3 quarterback hits. But like I said, a lot of those stats came with Hackenberg in the game. I think the game would have been completely different. Well, I say completely different. I think they would have had a even better shot at pulling the upset off had Zach Mettenberg started the game. But Singletary's already announced that he will be the starter going forward. So, like I said, circle Memphis, guys. That could be a sleeper team to watch. But final in this one, 21-17 Apollos. On to Sunday's matchup. So Sunday saw the Birmingham Iron take on the Atlanta Legends. This was Atlanta's home opener. Believe it or not, Michael Vick did the ceremonial ball placement. Let's jump on Atlanta's side of the ball first. Man, Matt Sims. Guys, I don't know what it's going to take to get Aaron Murray or somebody else back there in the backfield taking snaps. Sims, once again, disappointed. Did not have a great day at all. He went to 28 of 48 for 328 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. That's right. He threw 3 picks in this game. There was times that I wanted to pull my hair out. By no means am I Atlanta Legends fan, but I feel you, Legends fans. I feel you. Bring on Aaron Murray. Please sign the petition now. Their leading rusher was, believe it or not, Matt Sims, 2 rushes for 27 yards. The next closest guy was Akram Wadley. He had 3 carries for 9 yards. They couldn't get it done, guys. They were struggling left and right, which put the defense in bad situations quite a bit. Legends leading tackler was Tyson Graham Jr., 10 total tackles. They just didn't look good, guys. I can't even really critique the defense because, like I said, they stayed on the field entirely too much because Sims just no rhythm, making bad decisions, getting knocked down. I just don't have any good things to say. I don't know why Sims is still in the game. That's all I can say. I don't know why Sims is still the starter. But anyway, let's jump on to the Birmingham side of the ball. So, Birmingham, let me start out by saying, Trent Richardson, he may have resurrected his career. He went 17 carries, 46 yards, and had 3 touchdowns. They pretty much didn't have to do much. Like I said, Legends put him in short field quite a bit, so it was pretty much just pound the rock, score touchdowns, and get out of here with the win. Luis Perez, 17 of 31, 160 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Quentin Patton was the leading receiver, 4 catches for 58 yards. Their leading tackler, Beniquez Brown, 10 total tackles. Guys, like I said, Atlanta's got a lot of work to do. Birmingham moved to 3-0 in this one, so they're kind of matching blow for blow with Orlando. Be interesting to see when those two teams tee off. But let's get to the nightcap game for Sunday to round out Week 3. So, Week 3's night game, we saw San Antonio Commanders versus the San Diego Fleet. So, this game, man, Fleet came away with the win. They trounced the Commanders 31-11. The game started out promising for the Commanders, and then pretty much everything after that was just bad. Let's start out with the Commanders side of the ball. Again, another team with another struggling quarterback. I believe that there will be a changing of the guard going into next week. I don't know if it's going to be Marquise Williams, but I believe that they're going to have to move on and try somebody else back there. Woodside is just making too many boneheaded throws, throwing into double coverage. He went 12 of 23, 151 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That seems to be the status quo for him. He just throws 2 interceptions a game. Lone bright side on the offensive side of the ball for me was the run game again. Trey Williams, he was out the first 2 weeks, so this was his first week in action in this league. 7 carries, 75 yards. He was averaging 10.5 yards per carry. Dude looked like he wanted to keep his job, that's for sure. But Commanders' run game, they have a deep backfield. They're going to have to run the ball, especially with having a struggling quarterback. Leading receiver for the Commanders, Mikael McKay, 4 catches, 91 yards, and the lone touchdown. Leading tackler for the Commanders defense, Joel Lanning. He had 6 total tackles. Defense did not look good again. They weren't really able to get at the quarterback at all. And with that, that put a lot of pressure on that secondary, which the secondary struggled mightily in week 2. And they struggled again in week 3. They were a strong point to start the season, but now I feel that they are the liability on the defensive side of the ball. Pretty much if San Antonio doesn't get pressure on the quarterback, then you can almost guarantee there's going to be some blown coverage on the back end. So they got a lot of work to do. But let's jump over to the Fleet side of the ball. Very, very impressed by the Fleet's performance. Of course, you know, Philip Nelson took the job over from Berkovici last week. And in this game, he went 17 of 25, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw 1 interception, but they looked really good on the offensive side of the ball. I think Mike Martz, now we're in week 3, that offense is really starting to click. They're really starting to gel under his program. And in the game, they had mentioned that he dumped the entire playbook on them in week 1. So they kind of had to have a crash course. I think week to week, as we go along in this season, they are only going to get better and better, and it's starting to pay off. Like I said, they hung 31 on San Antonio. Their leading rusher, Jaquan Gardner, that dude, like I said, again, he is a stud. 12 carries, 122 yards, and a touchdown. He actually set the record. He had an 83-yard touchdown run on, I believe it was 4th down, broke all the way through. Longest play from scrimmage in Alliance history. Their leading receiver, Nelson Spruce, that dude can catch anything that's thrown his way. 4 catches, 50 yards, 2 touchdowns. That seems to be Nelson's favorite target. It's a Nelson to Nelson. So Philip Nelson to Nelson Spruce. On the defensive side of the ball, Kendall James, 5 total tackles. Again, their defense looked good as well. They were getting after San Antonio. They made a complete 180. They were at the bottom of the West, and now they are sitting at the top, tied with Arizona. So this could be another one of those teams. Look out. Keep them on the radar, because I feel like from week to week, that offense is only going to get better. That wraps up week 3, guys. What are you most surprised about from this previous week? What storylines are you watching? Be sure and get down in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys. I want to keep that dialogue going. And if you're not already, guys, be sure and hit that subscribe button, turn the bell notification on. That way you know when my next video comes out, as well as hit that like button. That way I know you like this content. I'll continue to keep coming out with more. My telling stat from week 3, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. San Antonio Commanders went into week 3 being the best team on 3rd down. I believe they were a 57% conversion rate on 3rd down. They went 1 for 12 against the Fleet. So I think that was the telling stat in the game. Couldn't sustain any drives, and the Fleet made them pay. But that's all I got for this one. I'm out.